And so GM and all the other car manufacturers watch, oh, this is the way for the future. So everybody started mass producing cars, which lowered the price, which means millions of Americans are making cars, are buying cars. So the car, that's why he's started a traffic jam. In 1905, there were 8,000 cars in this country. In 1915, there's 3.5 million. In 1925, 17.5 million. Yeah, America got wheels. It changed everything. First of all, you didn't have to live right where you weren't. You could, you have to begin of suburbs. People began to spread out. And so that was an important factor. And also, it changed courtship habits. In the old days, you started dating someone, you went to the young girl's house with the father on the porch, cleaning his shotgun, and you drank some lemonade and all that. Or went for a carriage ride with an aunt, and they had a rolling pin with her. But then came the car. It changed courtship patterns, unsupervised courtship. It's one person in the 20s said, those new fangled automobiles are nothing more than hotels on wheels. So, yeah, and this is still true. At any rate, it did change everything. And of course, for the first time now, we hear those words, are we there yet? Average American families could go on vacation. Vacation only for the very wealthy before the 20s. You had to be wealthy and spend a couple months in some exotic location. But now you can put down $5 and $5 a month on your Model T Ford, get the family in there, and head off to see America. It was an adventure. You never knew how far you were going to get before the tire went out, the engine went out. But that was part of the adventure. This is where you had the tin can tourists are heading down to Florida. And so as all these cars began to proliferate in the teens and 20s, people realized the infrastructure is not made for this. It's made for carriages and wagons and horses. And so there's a huge road building campaign across the nation. So if you wanted a good blue chip industry in that time period, you invest in asphalt, brick, bridge building companies. Those were the blue chip industries. And much of our streets and roads and highways today are based on this infrastructure created in the teens and 20s. And we just take it for granted today, unless it's Avalon Boulevard. Never can take that for granted. It'll be finished one century. But it does change everything. So everybody's interested in getting new roads. And so Santa Rosa County, I want to get on this too, because Santa Rosa County is finally coming into the 20th century. Kicking and screaming. I actually have a quote here. I'll have to read this. It's a good example from, I think it's 1913. Yeah, the Milton Gazette of 1913. Quote, if you want to see about the busiest place in the entire state of Florida, just come to Milton and watch the work going on. In both private and public enterprise, it is doubtful if there's a city in the state of anything like our population that is doing as much improvement and development as in Milton. In the east part of town, a crew of skilled workmen are at work finishing the erection of the waterworks tower and reservoir and installing machinery for the $40,000 water, sewage, and lighting system that will, when completed, equal any in the state. In another part of town, crews of men are at work hauling and setting electric light poles, while the more immediate business section this week, a large crew of men are tearing up and replacing whole blocks of street, laying the sewage pipes and water connections. They're still working on canals. In other parts of the city, 2 crews of men are at work laying cement sidewalks. One of these crews is finishing the walk from the cemetery to the business sections of the town, whilst the other is at work putting down a 6-foot walk around the town square. The splendid brick structure that is to house the telephone exchange hotel, as well as furnish a number of office and other compartments that is being erected by Mr. Sunball, is now near completion. Mr. Abbott is also having the finishing touches put on the big 100-foot building that he is erecting to house his bondman works, the Abbott Bondman Works. The workmen have but just completed the new $20,000 auditorium, the Imogene, which is one of the finest in the state, is a critical light to the city of Milton and Manager Harvey, under whose directions it was erected. And to these improvements, a lively business that is being transacted by our merchants, the work of the sawmill, shipyard, ice plant, grist mill, cotton gin, and other manufacturers' interests, together with the shipping that is done from this place both by rail and by boat, and Milton presents a decidedly business, if not metropolitan, appearance. Wow. a good time Milton had. But it was a booming time period, and so in order to connect Milton with the rest of the state, we need better roads. And so there was a big push to try to connect it, not just by rail, but through these new fangled automobile roads. That's the whole reason the old brick road, US 1 it was called back then, which is now US 90, that was the whole reason it came